Hello guys, I'm Sharou. Today's video is about the space
キラークイーン第3の爆弾バイツァーダスト
Hello guys, I'm Sharou, a VTuber who's gonna have his first debut on 25th May. So please do drop by if you can. Okay, back to the topic. Today's video is about the space battleship Yamato, a TV series which opened an entire sci-fi golden era. Yes, this video is about the anime history, and now I'm going to talk about the golden spirit of Yamato. In other words, the spirit of the golden sci-fi anime era. Okay, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm gonna separate this history into two parts. In part 1, I will talk about the era background of sci-fi genre to introduce the birth of the golden science fiction. And then in part 2, I will mainly introduce the space Yamato, a golden spirit. Okay, that's all for the brief info. Let's go to the main body now. Let's begin with the era background. Back to the 1970s, the citizen power in Asia grows stronger and stronger. Therefore, the Asia pop culture grows rapidly as well. For example, James Wong and the other Hong Kong musicians started to write Cantonese songs. Cantonese pop music started to show up in TV. Before the 70s, Hong Kong citizens preferred to the English or the Mandarin music. But after the 70s, the local citizens began to focus on the local culture and changed the entire Hong Kong pop culture forever. The Hong Kong movie, music, and every pop culture grew rapidly. The Hong Kong entertainment industry just started her first voyage, facing the whole growing market. The local industry just couldn't reply their needs, so they started to import abroad. This went the same way to the Taiwan, Korean, and Japan. The culture barrier was not that hard, just interacting and learning from one another. Korean watched A Better Tomorrow. Hong Kong would listen Momoe Yamaguchi. Japan would watch Jackie Chan too. Even Aoi-chan would sing Police Story. Anyway, at that time, we just don't understand each other, but we just have a quite fun together. And back to the anime, back to the 1973, because the music production ban broke and all kinds of economy reasons, the Japan anime industry began to reform itself from the technology to stories genre. The animator used the machine to replace some of the work. They began to find new sponsors to support their anime. On the other hand, the colored TV also arrived to the Japan citizen house. Because all of these inventions, the Japan anime for adult audience also popped up. For example, the Lupin the First Season 1. But this adult anime before Yamato failed in the market results. There are many reasons to explain this failure. One big reason was that it just didn't fit the new generation otaku
aesthetic.
Just like what I said before, is the era of young pop culture. Japan at that time upset a lot of pop culture abroad. That's including the most important thing, the sci-fi genre. New generation otaku just didn't like the blood and the boobs. Not all of them. Blood and boobs plus the mechanic and something. They like the new machines and gears. They want to build their own bike. They wanted to watch the space and science romance, the space opera. And finally, so it began, the golden age of sci-fi anime. Before we talk about the golden age science fiction, let's go back to the sci-fi novel in the 19th century Europe. It will help us to understand how the sci-fi becoming the most popular genre in the mid-20th century. During the 19th century, the European has a thriving science. The well-developed science and the whole Enlightenment changed the worldview of European. So it changed the light literature too. In the traditional light novel, it usually takes places in an ancient time, or maybe in a mystery like island. They would never imagine how the future society looks like. Until the 19th century, all of them were changed. People believed the power of the science. People began to imagine how the future changed along with the science in fashion. However, the intellectual, especially the romantics, worry about the radical change with science may lead to a disaster future. Therefore, we hope and anxious. The literature wrote it down in the novel. In 19th century, the first sci-fi novel, Frankenstein Monster, was published. At that time, it hadn't connected to the space yet. This genre will have a connection with space until the mid-20th century. Why the sci-fi genre began to imagine the universe? Because the space race of America and Soviet Union. People were all excited about the new space, so they wrote it down. The space sci-fi stories were created. One of the big genre in it was space opera. Although at the first place the space opera was very boring, that's why it was called the space opera, combining the phrase soap opera with space. But later, a lot of masterpieces show up in this area. We have the Foundation series, the Dune, the 2001 Space Odyssey. It was really a sci-fi golden era. Since the age of discovery, it was the second time mankind gazing the unknown world. They inherit the 19th century sci-fi spirit and renewed it. The most amazing thing was, one author wrote down a novel about nuclear bomb without knowing the actual nuclear plan. At that time, the American was at war with Germany and Japan, so it really scared the Uncle Sam. So, Uncle Sam really did this. Don't worry, the author was fine. I told the story to prove that the imagination of that era was very amazing, and this sci-fi boom was transcended to Japan anime too. Along with the well-developed sci-fi genre in America, Japan anime began its own journey, and the Japan animator absorbed the sci-fi spirit very well. We can say that the Japan anime grows with the sci-fi stories nutrition. For example, the Dune world in Dune was learned later by Hayao Miyazaki. He later used this world setting in the Valley of the Wind. And there are a bunch of anime pop up in the 1970s, and the most important one is, of course, our topic today, Space Battleship Yamato. Okay, that's all for today. I will talk about the Yamato in the next video, in the part 2. If you like my video, please come to my debut on 25th of May, 8 PM in Eastern Standard Time. Please. Okay, this is Skyro's channel, a otaku VTuber who loves anime culture. Bye bye, see you on my debut then. Bye bye. Please, come.